Hey, listen, the main thing I want this podcast to be about, okay, is about us being friends, all right, and we fucking love.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, welcome to the 2A Sisterhood talk show.
Well, welcome to the 2A Brotherhood podcast. Tonight we have Josh Morgan on as a guest. What's up, Josh?
Not much, guys. Thanks for having me back. I think this is my third time on the show, so I
Heck yeah,
appreciate you
brother.
guys putting up with me yet again.
I appreciate you
Thank
putting
you
up with our madness. Don't talk while
putting
I'm
up
talking,
with
Austin.
Don't lick your lips while I lick my lips.
Why I turned you on?
Oh my god.
Come on, not on the podcast, Austin.
Let's not start that because that's all Austin needs.
Right. They go on a tranny rant.
All right.
You guys hear about the Target gender fluid bathing suits that happened?
Oh no! Stop! We're done. Josh, so you're fresh off of IPSC, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I shot the U.S. IPSC Nationals 2 weeks ago in Marengo, Ohio. IPSC is the international body for practical shooting. So in the United States, we have the United States Practical Shooting Association, which is like a subset, like smaller branch of the IPSC, the International Practical Shooting Confederation. And so we got to shoot the IPSC Nationals in the U.S. And that was a good time. So there's some rules differences. There's some division differences between USPSA and IPSC, so we had to change some stuff around. The big one is like in the US, dot divisions are capacity restricted by magazine length, so you can top as many rounds as you can fit to 141 millimeter mag. You can stuff it as full as you want. In IPSC, it's capped at 15. So a lot of the dot shooters had to make that adjustment. In production, in my life was easy because the U.S. rules and the IPSC rules are very, very similar. So I didn't have to change a single thing except I had to push my gun and my magazines behind my hip bone. We competed across 24 stages in 3 days. And what makes IPSC unique from a match admin perspective is there is a mandatory stage format that they have to follow. So there can only be 3 short courses to 2 medium courses to 1 long course, where in the US, in USPSA, they don't have a restriction like that. So if you have a 30-stage nationals, 24 of them might be long courses. In IPSC, most of your points are going to be earned on a long string of short courses with very small high point intervals in between. So it's a little bit different from the strategy perspective, but it was a good time. I got to shoot with a few big names. So I got to shoot with Lena Michalek and her camera crew, and then I got to shoot with Jaleese Williams, who is representing the U.S. On the Classic World Shoot team. World Shoot's coming up. I think it's either this weekend or next weekend. But she is the first woman to qualify for an overall team. So it was really cool to see her in action and competing as well. So it was a good time.
Hell yeah. It sounds like it was a good time.
Yeah. It ended up working out pretty well for me. I came in 10th at roughly 78%. So 10th in nationals isn't. Oh, did I cut out there?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool.
No, you're good.
10th in an IPSC Nationals isn't the most prestigious thing in the world. The IPSC Nationals typically sees less heat than a USPSA Nationals, but I was able to do a couple of things that I've never done before. I was able to shoot within 90% of the super squad on a couple of stages, and I won a stage. So against people like Mason Lane, Sal Luna, the U.S. Production World Shoot team. It was a small stage, but it was a stage, and I won it. So I'm going to put that in my back pocket.
Hey, a W is always good, man.
A dub's a dub.
Right.
You remember that one stage though?
Oh yeah. The crazy part was it wasn't even a super good performance either. Like there were a handful of makeup shots on it. there was a couple of like weird insurance things. What it boils down to is like on that stage, the super squad was not willing to induce risk. There were 4 targets, all of which were half hardcover partials. So if you're on the super squad approaching that stage, you're not going to try and snake alphas in next to the hardcover. You're going to shoot the Alpha Charlie perf for either an Alpha Charlie or close Alpha Charlie, maybe 2 Alpha if you're lucky, or you're going to accept 2 Charlie. I was threading alphas, so I won that stage with a respectable time and points, but realistically, I didn't shoot it in the most strategically sound way. But I won it, and that's what's important.
You just go as fast as you could, or?
No. It was a pretty short stage, and I just wanted to stay off the mics. I shot day 1 penalty free, and that was sort of my goal going into day 2, where I got to shoot on that stage win. And I was like, all right, as long as I don't mic out, I'll be in a good spot. And then it didn't happen. Day 2 and day 3 were very penalty heavy for me. But like day 3, I was going into day 3. I thought I was locked into 10th. I was like, okay, I've got a pretty substantial point gap above me. I've got a pretty substantial point gap below me. I can just sort of do my thing, and it won't be a problem. And then I shot 3 mics in 4 stages. And that's 45 points that I just gave up into the wind. And when you're giving up 45 points, someone's going to step into that gap. And John McClain, the pro shooter for Rock Island Armory, stepped into that gap. And I found myself going to the last stage about 2% back, and I was able to pull out a big enough finish on the last stage to re-secure 10th. And it was a close race that shouldn't have been that close, but it was a valuable lesson for me.
Did you feel any kind of pressure shooting alongside those professional shooters?
So this is going to be controversial, and I apologize if anybody catches flack over this, but Jaleese is a professional shooter. Lena is a professional content creator. She is a very accomplished shooter in women's multi-gun. She's a very accomplished shotgun shooter. She's probably one of the most technically sound female shotgun shooters in the world. But in terms of handgun competition, calling her a professional, I think, would be a misnomer in the context that we saw her in. She wasn't shooting on behalf of SIG. She wasn't shooting a SIG gun. She was there as a content creator. Jaleese, professional shooter through and through. But yeah, there wasn't a ton of pressure. Day 1 was a little like, oh, that's kind of weird. There's camera crews. If you watch Lena's videos on IPSC Nationals, you'll see me and my teammates Dave and Tom in our jerseys walking around. But yeah, it wasn't a big pressure thing after I got to actually see them shoot. They're humans, just like the rest of us.
It's funny how you're talking about with Lena. Her dad is like handgun like god, especially with revolvers.
Jerry.
You know, because he held the. I don't know if he still does, but doesn't he hold the world record for like fastest revolver?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm pretty sure he holds like the world record for like fastest revolver shoot and reload.
What's his name?
Jerry.
Jerry Mitchell. Yeah, he's a very accomplished revolver shooter, and he's still a very good handgun shooter. But a lot of Lena's recent career and a lot of Jerry's career was in multi-gun, which was where they made their name for themselves. And like even Lena was like, I haven't shot a handgun only match in almost a decade. She's like, this is not my world. So it's not like right, wrong, or indifferent, but it was interesting to see someone that prolific in the YouTube space and the Instagram space actually show up and shoot a match. Like she was there for her. She was there to have fun. She wasn't there as a professional, and that's something that she talks about openly in her series on the match.
Gotcha.
Yeah, wasn't she like really big into creating the SIG P365 like Rose or something like that? I think she.
Yeah,
was,
I think the Rose is her signature line.
Yeah, her, because they're coming out with an AR platform. I think Rose for females too.
What would be the difference?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Rose gold anodizing. I mean, that's the only difference on the 365 line.
what, a couple $100 more, maybe $1,000.
This is for women. They'll
Like,
pay it.
this
Comes-
is premium shit here.
Comes with a little box. Says, "Don't point this at anyone." The whole thing.
Dangerous and
A secret perfume compartment in the grip.
Secret perfume.
Did she smell good?
I don't know, man. I wasn't even paying attention to her.
I'm playing
I was
with
letting
you.
her and her camera crew do her thing.
You got him sweating now, Rob. He didn't expect that question.
I
He pulled a Joe Biden, just got a
didn't
whiff
see
of the
that
hair.
coming.
Did she smell like roses?
I was doing, dude. After 3 days in the summer in Ohio, we all smelled like sweat and gunpowder.
Mm.
Did you camp out or? did you
No,
guys
no,
have
we
a
had an
hotel?
Airbnb. Yeah, we had an
Oh,
Airbnb
okay.
in Delaware, Ohio, and weird little town. Weird little town. But it worked out great, and yeah, I got to take that trip with Dave Tetoyan and Tom Bick, who were both part of the Double Tap shooting team. And it was Tom's first nationals, Dave's first nationals, so it was kind of cool to be a part of that experience as well.
You're also starting a training company, right? And it's called Double Tap.
Yeah, so I'm in a whole bunch of things right now, Dimitri. I'm all over the place, but yeah. So there's the Double Tap. What was originally the Double Tap shooting, or Double Tap Dynamics, was the original umbrella that we created. By we, I mean Dave Taylor and myself. And from there, we created the Double Tap Shooting Academy, which is the training arm, where Dave and I are sort of bringing the science of competition and the science of shooting to the market. Talking about hit factor scoring, talking about how do we use the data that we're getting in our practice to be better at practicing. So there's a lot going on there. There's also the Double Tap shooting team, which is a little bit more broad. It includes people like Tom Bick, who are really good shooters, who are up and coming in the sport, who shoot with us regularly, but aren't necessarily instructors. And then we also produce the Stage Brief podcast. So don't click away now, but after you're done with this episode, the Stage Brief is a great place if you're super into the nerdy hit factor science of USPSA.
Yeah, like off camera, I was telling you, I was like, I've listened to some of the episodes, and when you guys start talking about all the numbers, it's just. I try, man, because I want to actually learn how it's done, but it's just it turns into gibberish after a while.
Yeah, there's
It's
there's
so
a
much
lot
math,
going
dude.
on. Yeah, there's a lot going on there, and like from the match perspective, there's only so much that you can actually manipulate about the numbers, right? Like you have to have the shooting ability to manipulate your own hit factor before the math becomes strategically important to you. And this is something Christian Seiler's talked about pretty extensively. But understanding how the game is scored is important to everybody, right? Like you couldn't play a game of basketball if you didn't understand that there are difference between 3-pointers and 2 points. Like you just wouldn't be able to play the game, and if you did play the game, you wouldn't be very effective at it, right? So like you could know, okay, my objective is to put the ball through the hoop, but you wouldn't be able to score as effectively as someone who understands how the scoring method works. The same's true in hit factor. If I tell you to shoot the center of the target fast, you're going to be good. Like you can do that. But if you don't know what that means, and if you don't know what the time penalties for certain actions are, or you don't know what the point penalties for a given target are, you're not going to be able to compete as effectively as someone who understands that. And I go down that rabbit hole all the time. That's like my most favorite thing about the game. There's so much to it.
Yeah, I remember when we trained with you, the last one, you wrote everything down and were trying to explain to us on how it would be scored. Rob, do you still have that picture of the final card?
Think so.
I don't know. I'm gonna
Yeah, that
text
was-
you, Josh, and let me know who won because we still haven't figured it out.
Well, the good news about hit factor is, and seeing who won's pretty simple. That's just straight up the high hit factor wins. But hit factor is, in layman's terms, points per second. So if you've ever played like any video games where you have like a damage per second, think of it like that on a stage.
Difficulties.
No? Uh-oh.
We
We lost
Dimitri.
Dimitri.
Everyone's Everyone's dropping off.
But we're back, so it's okay.
There we go.
So yeah, think of it as damage per second to the stage. You're trying to earn as many points as you can as fast as you can.
I just tell everyone that I won. It's okay.
Hey,
as long
you know,
as you go with that, then that's fine with me.
that's the Team Ruger approach, man. It's like David Alasso had a hard-fought victory, and you open practice scoreds against 4 super seniors. It's like, yep, he got him. He got him good.
Some super seniors. Does that mean some really old guys?
Yes, yeah. There's 65 and over,
Oh, jeez.
or distinguished seniors. Super senior is like IDPA term. Distinguished senior is the USPSA term. But yeah, there are companies out there who send their pro shooters to trophy hunt. It's not right or wrong, but it's about people's ability to interpret the data. If you've never heard of USPSA and you don't know what it is, oh my gosh, we won a national championship. This gun is so great. And it's like, yeah, you won a national championship against 4 people in a division no one shoots. Like,
Like, get the fuck out of here with that.
but I only know that because I know how to read practice score. And most people don't. So, like,
That's
oh my
that super senior is the one I need to compete in. My goal is to dominate that field.
Yeah, well, we were talking to Dave and I were sort of chuckling because Taylor Doyle, a member of the double tap shooting team, she was competing at the Western PA sectional last weekend with us, and she had 2 back-to-back stages where she had misses and failure to shootouts. So like she didn't even engage the target, which is like colossal penalties, and she still won ladies handsomely. And so Dave and I were like, hey, all it takes is a trip to the DMV. We get that M changed to an F. We could stack titles.
We could identify.
Yep. Because it is a point of contention right now in USPSA that the only requirement to compete in the ladies division is a government ID that says female. And so Dave and I could walk up there and clean house. I'm sure they would immediately pass something to prevent that from happening, but
Hey,
we could get away with it once.
go to PA. It was easy for me to change my race.
Man.
Yeah, we have a,
Yeah,
we had a lot
Rob's
of fun.
technically white in Pennsylvania.
I heard a little bit about that with the they sort of picked that for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was thinking about changing it. I said, why would you want to get rid of your privilege?
That shit ain't working out too well for me.
Oh, man. So, Josh, you also went to Kansas.
I did, yeah. I've been all over the place the last few weeks, man. But yeah, I went to Kansas to compete in the Free State Championship. I got to hang out with Eric Kangas. He's a funny guy, cool hat on Instagram. He was a big guy on TikTok back when I first joined the shooting community on TikTok, and so we met through there. He asked if I'd be willing to come out and shoot a match with him, and I was like, I'm a sucker for shooting matches, hell yeah. And went out there. I got to admit, it was a little bit of a culture shock. I did not realize Kansas barbecue was such a substantial thing. I felt very silly. I went to Kansas. I was like, all right, what are we doing for dinner? He's like, dude, there's only one thing we're getting for dinner. And so had Kansas barbecue. We went back the second night. I'm a changed man. All right. We're going to Kansas just for the food next year. But yeah, so I got to have a good time there. So I went down there. There was not a lot of heat signed up in production, which is typical. Production is a smaller division. But Brody Atkinson, who was number 12 in the country, decided that he wanted to shoot that match in production. And so I got to go up against Brody, which was kind of cool because him and I are on paper on very different skill levels. He is a super squad level competitor, and I am underneath that by a little bit. And so we were shooting on like weird schedules, so we didn't really overlap until the end of the day. And so he was able to put up a lot of points on me early, and then I was able to sort of flip the script on him towards the end, and it turned into a very, very tight race. But before I go into this, I do want to state Eric Kangas shot a great match as well, coming in third. Like, he outshot his paper on paper performance. So kudos to Eric for his shooting there. But the last stage going into it, there were 2 match points between myself and Brody, and I was going on to a stage that he had previously won. So in order for me to get enough match points to beat him on this stage, I have to beat him by at least 2%. And so going into that stage, I was the first shooter. The entire squad is tracking scores at this point because they know I'm in contention to win. I didn't realize how invested the squad was. And so I go up there. During my walkthrough, I almost miss a target, which would have been horrible. So I see this like target peeking out from behind the barrel on like my second to last walkthrough, and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta like program that fast because I did not see him. So I get that squared away and get my last rep in. They call me up to the line, and so I knew going in he shot a 5-hit factor. And so I go in, shoot the stage. The second target is a mini popper. And I've talked about this the last time I was on your show. I struggle with steel. I don't know what it is. Hitting steel on the first shot for me is like my kryptonite. It's just, my brain switches off and I forget how the gun works. So I take 3 makeup shots on this piece of steel. I'm like, fuck. Brody is a great shooter. I'm behind pace at this point. So I absolutely rail on these next 2 open targets and take 2 deltas on a target 6 yards away. I'm like, this is not going well. This is not going well at all. And so I get to the second position. I clean that relatively well. I get to the third position after the reload, and I'm like, all right, there's too many poppers here at like 20-ish yards, 23, 24 yards. I'm like, okay, just go 1 for 1 on these. Please, dear God, let me go 1 for 1 on these. So I come into the position. There's a no-shoot partial target at like 15 yards. I take Alpha Charlie on that. I'm like, thank God, no penalties, we're good. Hit the first steel, and watching the video, like you can see myself like stutter because I'm like, oh my God, I hit it. And then I go to the second mini popper, like 20-something yards, and I hit that one. I'm like, oh my God, we're cooking. We're good. We're good. We can work with this. I exit that position clean, and then I was like, okay, I'll throw another load in just to make sure I'm not running out of rounds here, and I clean it. And at the very end, the RO calls the time. It's 18:42, and I know Brody shot this in 22 seconds. And this is where the math comes in. So there's roughly a 4-second gap in a 5-hit factor. That's a 20-point deficit. So I'm up 20 points that I can give away essentially before he beats me. So 2 deltas are 4 points apiece penalties. So that's 8 points. So now I'm at 12 points. And I'm like counting Charlies backwards in my head as we're scoring. I'm like, I can only have 6 Charlie on this. It can't be any worse than 6 Charlie. And we're counting. And we get to like 3 Charlie. And I'm like, I think we did it. And as I hit approve, the scores update for the match. And I turn around and the squad is just losing it. Because it's automatically posted, and they're refreshing it on theirs, and they were just like, you won! You did it! And so it's just a really cool moment to share with those guys, and Eric Kangas and Jordan, I'm drawing a blank on his last name, but Gingerbeard, he's on Instagram as well. He was in our squad, and those guys were just the biggest hype men. So it was just a really cool experience, and I found myself like getting choked up and like super emotional about it, which is strange for me. I don't typically get emotional about wins and losses. I'm very focused on like, this is my performance. Like, I get the score I earn. If it's good enough on that day, it's good enough on that day, and if it's not, it's not. And I found myself getting choked up about a level 2 in Kansas that I've never shot before. I had no history of it, but those guys made it really special. So ended up beating Brody by like 1.5%, and that was a high for me for the season.
Eric came in third, right? So it was you,
yes.
Brody, and then Eric. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it.
Yeah, and Eric shot a great match as well. I mean, Eric was 90% of me through the first 4 stages, which, for where he should be on paper in this, I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but where he is on paper, for him to be 90% of me for 4 stages is a pretty good place for him to be in terms of development. And then the other dramatic piece to this is I had to switch to my backup gun because my extractor broke on my third stage. So it was just the hits kept coming, and to be able to pull it out at the end was kind of cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Rob, do you have a fan going on? Because it's mad loud.
Maybe it's your. Nah, I don't.
Well, your
But,
mic's picking
yeah.
something up.
That sort of speaks to the sort of best parts about this game. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
we're racing guns, we're shooting ridiculously fast with very, very small margins for error in terms of points and safety and things like that. But to be there with those guys, and I had only known 2 people on that squad before I showed up to that match, and the entire squad was hype. And that was just so cool to see that happen, and for them to be cheering for me. Like, it doesn't affect their life who wins production at a level 2 in Kansas. Like, it does not matter to them at all. But they chose to let it matter to them, and they chose to make it important, and it was just really, really cool.
Yeah, the camaraderie when it comes to the competition shooting is actually like really good. At least where I went, everybody was trying to help me. You know. And when I got DQ'd, everybody was telling me like, "This is what you should have done," and was trying to help me. They were like, "Next time, start by going to the right, so you don't have to put your weapon like this. You could just have it behind you running." I was like,
To be fair, I think I told you that before you did it.
"Did you?"
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I told you that before you went, because you were talking about you don't know how you're gonna hit that, you know. And then I was like, well, you should do what everyone else is doing and go from this way and work your way over.
Yeah, everybody was going right. I was like, I'm gonna go left because it just seemed better. Apparently not.
Yeah, if everybody else is going one way in this game, there's probably a reason for it. When you make M class, then maybe being like, yeah, these people are dumb, I can go a different way and it'll work out. But even then, like, there was a stage at Western PA that I was like, I'm pretty sure I can shoot it better if I go this other way. Got cooked. I got absolutely body slammed. I was like 4 seconds off pace. I was like, okay, all right. Well, lesson learned. Go back to doing what everyone else is doing. Just execute it well.
So you went the wrong way, Dimitri, or?
No. So you could start the stage by starting to the right or to the left. It doesn't matter. I just chose to go left because I thought the hardest target was so. When I went left, I thought that was going to be the hardest shoot because you had to like kneel down, and it was about like 20 yards out where the target was. So I was like, let me get started with this and then progress this way. But everybody else was going to the right because they're all right-handed shooters, which I am too. But I didn't know, you know.
But the issue is there was an angled wall.
Yeah.
It was
So
an
basically,
angled-
I shot here, and then I had to backtrack this way, and then go back this way, and that's where I broke the 180. And everybody told me like, next time put it over your shoulder, and run. But and then everybody was like, you should have started by going to the right, because then I would have had to do the same thing on the left side. Like from the side where I started to shoot that first target that I shot would have been my last target. I would have had to turn, but I could have just put the gun behind me, which is easier to not break the 180. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. You know, that was I didn't come in last. There was like, what was it, 2 or 3 people that got DQ'd right before me.
Yeah, you made it to like the last 3 rounds you would have shot for the match.
Yeah, there's a saying. There's 2 types of shooters: those that have DQ'd and those that will. So it comes for all of us.
Yep. If you did had, I think you had 3 more rounds to shoot, and then
Yeah.
you would have been done. And yeah.
Well, that's why they made the stage like that.
There was a guy at Western PA this past weekend. It was a weird like 2-string stage, and it was like his second to last stage or something like that. And the RO told him that he could stay hot, which is not a range command. Like that doesn't mean anything between strings. And he holstered his gun with the hammer back without the safety on and got DQ'd for it.
Oh, I thought it went off or something.
Yeah.
No, it's just a DQ. But yeah, it's like it'll happen. Yeah, small laps like that. Like he'd made it through that whole match decocking every time he holstered, but he got confused. He didn't take the time to process what was happening and got sent home early.
Yeah, one of the guys shot twice and then started running with his finger on the trigger. So they DQ'd him. What was the other guy? Why did he get DQ'd, Austin? Do you remember?
Was it his friend?
Yeah, it was his friend, but he made it like to like stage 3.
I want to say it was either he also broke 180 or it was either he also broke 180 or didn't clear his weapon. It was something like that. Yeah, but I can't remember exactly.
Josh, can you let us know like all the things that could get you DQ'd? Besides like what we've talked about so far, like the 180 rule.
There's a lot. So there's ammo in the safe table, holstering, hammerback, no safety, unsportsmanlike conduct's one, but that doesn't sound like what you experienced here. Finger in the trigger during movement, finger in the trigger during reloading, an AD within 6 feet, an AD during movement, an AD during reloading. I'm trying to think of in the stage ones that are like.
It might have been finger on the trigger while reloading.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
I've unfortunately there have been some shooters that I've had to call that on. Just like there was a new guy who was the first stage the RO warned him, which you're not supposed to do as an RO. Like I understand the concept behind it, but you're not supposed to do it. We're running around with live firearms. The safety rules are strict for a reason. So anyway, the RO warns him. 2 stages later, another shooter sees it and warns him. 2 stages later, I'm standing there watching him reload with his finger straight through the trigger guard. I'm like, all right, stop. Like, dude, I'm sorry, but like, this is a rule for a reason. Like, you're gonna send a round out of the range. Like, that's just what's gonna happen here. So I have to DQ you. And then he was like, my finger wasn't in the trigger guard. You're right. It wasn't. Have a great day. Like your match is still over. Like I don't like.
You're like, I ain't arguing.
I'm not gonna stand here and like have a back and forth with you. Like I get you're frustrated by it, and I get like if you genuinely thought your finger was not in the trigger guard, go dry fire. Like go spend some time working on that conceptually, because if you don't know where your finger is during that process. And it wasn't a fast reload. It wasn't this lightning fast. It didn't take my eyes the split second to process where his finger was. I'm watching him fuddle with the magazine and the gun.
Yeah.
It's just tough.
Well,
It's so tough to do that.
the dude that got DQ'd for moving with finger on the trigger, right? Like running with his finger on the trigger. It was his first competition as well, right? And so he was confused as to why he got DQ'd. So he was trying to ask the guy, was like, okay, why did I get DQ'd? And one of the other like ROs, I guess, heard that and was like, no, we're not going to argue here. You're done. And he's like, no, I'm not arguing. I just want to know why. No one's told me why. And like, but it was, this guy was about to like go down on him, you know, because he thought he was trying to argue. And all he wanted to do was know why he got DQ'd. He wasn't, you know, fighting it and he stayed and, you know, supported everyone else, but yeah
That's so silly as like an RO. Like it's if the competitor doesn't understand why they were DQ'd within like 30 seconds of unload and show clear, like there's no reason for that. It's like, hey, unload and show clear, hammer down holster. Hey, do you know why I stopped you? You had your finger straight through the trigger guard the entire time you were running. Like that's a DQable offense. Your match is over for the day. Like, if the RO is not running through it, like that's an RO problem. Like
Yeah.
that's like if the shooter has to ask why, like first off, it's a shooter briefing problem, because every new shooter should get a rundown of the fundamental don't do this before their first match.
Yeah.
The second part of that is if you're an RO, you should, and you have to not have to DQ someone. ROs don't DQ shooters. Shooters DQ themselves. ROs are responsible for informing them.
They make the calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if a shooter does DQ, like the RO should be the number one person for information on that, because nobody gets better from just being told to not argue. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. But we see this all the time in officiating. It's one of the things that I go back and forth with USPSA all the time. Is like the officiating in this game is so hit or miss. It's a volunteer sport, so like even at nationals, like when you show up to a stage at nationals, those guys running that stage are volunteers. If they're compensated, it's not well. They're definitely, it's not like it doesn't cover the cost of being there, so they're paying money to be there to RO you. So my expectations for them have to be somewhat tempered by that reality, but the amount of ROs I've seen enforcing the incorrect rules, insane. I mean, the amount of ROs who are like adamant, they're like 100%, they're like, no, fuck you, like I'm right about this. It's like, no, I have the rule book, and like I have the DNROI clarification that like specifically states what you're saying is wrong. Like I wouldn't be having this conversation with you as a range official if there was any doubt in my mind that I was wrong. Like, so it's just, it's so hit or miss. And again, like every time I talk about this, I have to caveat it. Like these are volunteers. The ROs are truly the superheroes of the game. We don't get to do what we do without those guys. And 99.9% of them are rock stars. But man, that 0.1% makes for a memorable weekend.
It's like a bad ref in a fight.
Yeah, like there's just all sorts. Like Dave Titoyan on his first stage at IPSC Nationals. The last array, the RO is saying, if finished, unload and show clear. While Dave is actively engaging targets, he is not yet engaged. So Dave is like, okay, like I'd like an RO interference call on that. Like, why are you giving me range commands? I haven't even fired the required number of rounds to complete the stage, and you're telling me if finished, unload and show clear? Like, why are you talking to me? And his interference call was denied. And he didn't run it up to the range master like he probably could have, but even then, it's like if you're an RO, what are you doing? Like, that's not a super crazy expectation to like wait till the shooter's done, or at least wait till they shoot the required number of rounds before you start giving range commands.
Yeah, and the thing with this RO was it wasn't the RO that had made the call that came up. It was like being hostile about it. It was a different RO that just heard him asking why was I DQ'd. That came up. It was just like super hostile about it.
Yeah, and also I didn't get like a briefing of what not to do. I was told just don't DQ. You know what I mean? But they never told me what. I mean, they told me not to have any ammo, you know, on the safe table and all that good stuff, and not to have any ammo on the, you know, uncasing box. But yeah, they didn't tell me any of the for me, it was as soon as I stopped engaging a target, my finger comes off the trigger. So when I was running, it was just instinct for that to happen. That's like one of the things I've beat in my head, that anytime I grab a firearm, you know, I have my finger out, and I made sure. Because, man, there's so many people that they're like, hey, can I see that? And the first thing they do is like, bruh, like, get your finger off the trigger, man. That's like the rule number one. Keep your finger off the damn trigger, dude.
So are you just not allowed to run with your finger in the trigger? What if you're like actively shooting at targets, but you're moving slowly from like one to the other?
So
like there's targets next to each other, and so you're like sidestepping to like get a better angle at one that's just slightly over.
Austin, you've actually asked such a great question, and one that I've dove into, because I had a guy try and DQ me for this very thing. And so movement in the rule book is defined as anything over 6 feet. And the finger can be in the trigger while engaging or preparing to engage a target. So let's say you've got a movement and the movement's ending. There's a wall in between you and the target. You're starting to get on the trigger. You're prepping as your gun is crossing that barrier to get over to the other side of the wall. Your finger can be in the trigger guard during that time because you're preparing to engage a target.
Mhm.
Now, are there some ROs who will attempt to stop you and call you on that? No, you were moving. You were moving. Yes. Way fewer than we've seen before. Like the last 3 years, I don't think I've seen anybody try and make that call, except like armchair quarterbacks after the fact. But it is like there is a rule book definition to defend a shooter who has that kind of situation.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So basically, you have to move more than 6 foot.
Yeah,
with
you
the
have to be
finger on the
moving
trigger.
6 feet without preparing to engage a target. So like if you're
Gotcha.
demounted from your gun, running with your finger in the trigger guard, yeah, you're
Mm.
going to get called on that. Assuming the RO is paying attention, which, again,
Mhm.
hit or miss, right? There have been plenty of times I've watched shooters do some crazy stuff, and the RO is just not watching. And it's like, okay,
Jeez.
well, all right. And then you pull them aside afterwards. You're like, hey, man, just so you know, don't do that again. Because that's not going to go well. But, yeah, you can't. The rule book has a huge glossary, and it's not a very interesting read. But if you are interested in USPSA, Section 10 covers DQs. It's definitely worth at least skimming over. If anybody's listening and considering going to a match, it's worthwhile looking into it. It'll also help prevent any sort of issues you might have with, like, who do I talk to about specific things. It breaks that all down in the rulebook.
Now, you said something about how you've seen people do some pretty sketchy stuff, and ROs didn't pick up on it because they weren't watching. What if someone, like, say, for instance, hard broke 180 and got really close to flagging you, right? And the RO didn't catch it. Let's just say, for whatever sake, the RO wasn't paying attention, didn't see that this dude almost pointed his gun at you. Would you, as a shooter, be able to DQ them, or like call them out to DQ them, or is that something to where it's like just bring them to the side? Hey, dude, if you do that again, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Depends on what game you're playing. So in IDPA, anyone can call stop. In USPSA, there's not that requirement. Now, I'm hesitant to tell people this because if you, as a competitor, are calling stop on someone,
Mhm.
there needs to be a very, very good reason.
Yeah.
So, if I honestly if it's that egregious, I'm probably screaming about something like, "Oh shit!" And like that's typically enough for an RO to get their attention, to be like, "Oh fuck, something's happening." Typically, if the squad ducks, that's an RO's. That's a good time for the RO to call stop, and most ROs pick up on that pretty quick. But if they don't, it's like, hey, one, talk to the RO, and again, if you're an experienced competitor, you know the RO. It's like, hey, dude, you got to watch that. And with the way the scoring is set up, like there's 2 ROs on every stage, so there should not be a time where that's happening consistently. So the timer RO is on the strong side, the tablet RO is on the weak side. So there really shouldn't be too much of that. But in IDPA, theoretically you could do it. In USPSA, I probably never would.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the stop command. Like, if I might scream and duck, but it wouldn't be an official range command, because I also open myself up to penalties at that point.
Yeah.
So if that happens and I say stop, one, I'm not an RO, so I have no right to say stop.
Yeah.
But 2, I'm now interfering with a shooter's run. That now earns me a procedural.
Okay.
Now, is that going to be enforced? Hit or miss, but it becomes a possibility.
Yeah, I got you.
Or if it wasn't, so like this is another side of it. If you wanted to be,
Did you freeze?
oh.
I think we lost you for a quick second.
Whatever.
oh
Yeah,
geez,
You're
okay.
back now.
So let's say I'm a competitor, and I see someone in my division who is better than me, who's beating me on the stage, and I think
Mhm.
he does something sketchy, and I call stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, that's not fair, right? Because
Yeah.
now I'm interfering. Is that unsportsmanlike? Could that rise to the level of being a DQ for unsportsmanlike conduct? And those are all things that range masters have to weigh when they're issuing those kind of penalties, and it's not something that I want to be involved in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Have you ever seen someone get DQ'd for that?
For flagging the squad,
No, for calling, saying stop and everything when.
no. I've seen 2 coaching penalties in major matches, it's not called coaching; it's called competitor interference. But I've seen those being called, but I've never seen someone DQ'd for interfering in another shooter's run.
Mhm.
I've seen 2 10-6-2 DQs. One was someone who threw a magazine after a bad run.
Mhm.
So you can't throw equipment.
Mhm.
And then there was one who switched his gun without range master approval, and that is considered cheating. So that would be a DQ.
Okay. So like when your gun started malfunctioning, you had to get approval for the switch.
Exactly. Yeah. So like as soon as I was done, I went to the CRO. I was like, hey, I need the range master for a gun swap. They radio the range master. Range master comes over, checks it, sends my information down to the chronograph station because I have to chrono both guns at that point to make sure both are compliant for the power factor rules, and that both are legal guns in that division. And then I have to take both guns to chronograph to get them tested.
Okay.
But I have to get signed off by the range master before I make that switch.
Okay.
In a local match, just tell the ROs and they'll figure it out. But at a major match, you have to call for range master approval.
I got you.
Yeah, there's a lot of little rules stuff that like
Yeah.
if you can get caught up or not get caught up in. It's just so easy to like to get missed or to like make a mistake for like bigger matches. I had a buddy of mine who wanted to go to his backup gun, but he almost holstered his backup gun before he got it approved. And I was like, dude, stop! Like, stop where you're at right now. Put both guns back on the safe table. Do not holster your backup gun until the range master gets here, because you don't even want to give the appearance that you might have switched guns without RM approval.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
I got you. Yeah, I mean that's something crazy to think about because I mean for me, I know if mine is malfunctioning, I would just shoot, I need to switch to my backup, and
I wouldn't even thought about that until you said something.
Yeah, me
I'd
neither.
I'd just be like, oh well, my backups, just like playing sports. It's like, oh, I got a hole in my cleats, let me switch over to my backup pair of cleats.
Yeah, and the reason they do that is so if you could attempt theoretically to cheat the system if you had 2 different
Yeah,
guns.
it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you were
it does.
swapping
It makes
between 'em.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But IPSC takes down your serial number to make sure you're not switching guns.
Really?
Yeah, ROs have the right to inspect your gear at any point. So IPSC takes it a little bit more seriously than USPSA. It just depends on the culture.
So theoretically, if I got a similar looking Glock and didn't have a serial number, and I printed on a serial number with the same serial number, I could
felony.
potentially get away with it.
That's a
You
felony.
could, but at this point, you're at the point of diminishing returns. You're committing crimes to cheat the system with a Glock.
That's why I said
With a
theoretically. Theoretically, okay. I would not. That's a
You talking about
theoretical.
committing felonies to win the match?
To win a
And
match, yeah.
we're still not winning matches. Nobody's shooting a printed Glock to win matches, unfortunately.
Well, clearly you haven't tried.
I have not. I've been shooting the CZs this year, and I think I'll probably stick with them. They've been doing well for me.
Well, if you ever want to switch up, then
Like
I'd
Austin, how
recommend
people
it.
let a felony.
I'm
Nah,
just kidding. I don't. I don't know anything about this. I was making a joke for theoretical.
There is some benefit to shooting Glocks in competitions. The maintenance required on them is much lower.
Yeah.
My poor
Dude,
CZs, if I don't replace their trigger return spring every 9 months, they get all sketched out on me.
I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm a Glock guy. You know, like I'm not a ride or die Glocker. You know, Glock over anything.
You're
I
a tool
just
guy.
mine has never failed me one time. Very familiar with it. I'm comfortable with taking it apart, putting it back together, and it's reliable, and so that's why I prefer to carry my Glock. And if I was to shoot competition, I would probably want to shoot with the gun that I'm carrying to get better with that for real world scenario. But I wouldn't be doing it so much for the competition, but more for the training.
That's how we all started. That's how every single one of us started. And the next thing you know, you got a 53-ounce gun with brass grips. You got a red dot the size of a television. You're like, I'm doing it for the training.
An extra Glock with the same serial number.
Oh, yeah, no.
If you didn't push your gun to failure, you're not training hard enough, Austin.
Yeah, I would be wary about taking advice from the guy who's never broken a gun. That would be my... And that's not for you specifically, Austin. That's just in general.
I'm not saying
general
never
life
broken a gun. I'm just saying mine has never malfunctioned in like a way to where I'm not saying I've never broken one. Okay.
There was a guy that used to shoot with me. He's like, those CZs, man, they're perfect. You never have to change out a part on them. I'm like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, mine have very strict maintenance regimens. He's like, no, I've never
changed every 5,000 miles.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I've got new spring kits. I've got a spare Shadow 2 internals part with me at all times, just because of the nature of how finicky they can get. And he's like, it's never happened to me. The dude shot like maybe 300 rounds. I'm like, okay, well that's why, bud. Like, he's like, yeah, it shoots great. Never have to do anything on it. Never breaks. Don't have to oil it. Like,
don't have to oil it.
Yeah,
My God.
Thanks, bud. Like, I'm sure you don't.
Well, my thing that got me with mine is when I first got mine that I carry. Over the course of 3 months, I probably shot like 1,000 rounds, and I didn't clean it once. I didn't do anything I didn't oil it or anything. And I could tell around the end of it, it was starting to get a little finicky, but it still was running strong. And that's what really got me was, I wasn't so pressed on the maintenance for it, which I am now, but I was able to do all that, beat it up through the woods, take it out. Where I lived, there was a bunch of woods behind me where I could go and shoot, and didn't have a single issue with it. And that maybe was also because it was brand new, but the fact that being from the military and shooting those, shitty pistols they gave me then to this, it ran so much smoother, and not having to clean it or oil it for like the first 1,500 rounds that I shot, it was put a lot of faith in it for me.
Probably should have cleaned it though.
I can't hear you, Rob.
I said you probably should have cleaned it though.
I should have, but I didn't have a cleaning kit. I spent all my money buying the gun.
I only
the ammo.
start cleaning my guns when I feel the hammer catch when I'm decocking.
Yeah.
That's when I know it's time to take a bath in the ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah, I spent all my money on guns and ammo, so I couldn't afford a cleaning kit. So,
I'll tell you what, if you guys ever become like super high volume, like 30 to 60,000 round shooters a year, the ultrasonic cleaners, game changer, man. You throw a little solution in there, a steel frame gun, you just let her soak, turn it on for a few hours. Oh my gosh, what a world of difference.
Everything just falls off, right?
Yep. And then anything that doesn't, you just run a paper towel over it, and you're good to go. Reassemble it, lube her up, and you're good for another 10, 15,000.
See, as a mechanic, I'm used to like parts cleaners.
Yeah, there you go.
I was thinking one day, because my dad used to have one, but he gave it away. And I was kind of pissed because I actually wanted it when he gave it away. But he didn't know that I wanted it. And I was thinking, it was like, damn, dude, if I go and I buy one I wonder how well that would like clean my gun. You know, if that would be good for it or not, because it would strip all the grease off, it'd strip everything out. You know, and so then I was like, I think it'd be good for it, and then I got even more pissed that my dad gave it away.
Yeah, I don't know about those polymer guns. Maybe the steel frame for sure. Steel frame guns all day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, do you have to take the springs out of it, or you just put it all in the solution and just let it go? Like
Uh,
extractor and stuff, or
Should I? Yeah. Do I? No.
I got it.
Hell
I-
no.
That gun's lucky if I take the slide off it. All right. I gotta take it off to replace my springs when it's due, but beyond that, she'll get a bath every now and then. But you know what? It does the job. I've been very fortunate that like now that I'm away from the SIGs, the CZs do the job. I had a very successful season with CZs. I was a little bit nervous because it was my first time shooting a double action gun in competition. I was a striker fire all the way up to here. And so the first few months with it, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this. Like I'm introducing a ton of risk to my first shot, which I still am a little bit, but it's worked well for me. So the Shadow 2 gets my vote.
So what do you see as the benefits of that over striker fire?
Yeah,
Because
so
I'm not really big on double action. You know, I never really liked the feel of it. I prefer striker fire. What would you say would be, if you were trying to convince someone to switch to double action, what would be your main selling point?
yeah, so the only selling point would be on the competition side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because I can make the single action much lighter.
Okay.
So one, the aftermarket support for Shadows is unmatched. Like it is the dominant competition handgun in the world. So I can get parts from all over the country to service this thing. So that's the big part for me. The second part of that is with a Glock, there's only so much you can do to it before you make it illegal. For competition, the CZ you can get away with a lot more because when in IPSC, when you're testing your trigger pull, for striker guns it's every trigger pull. For double action, single action, it's only the first trigger pull.
Okay.
So for Shadow 2s, like my stock trigger pull is like 8.5 pounds, and I don't mess with it. But there are some people who push that down to like 5 or 6 pounds. So we're now talking about a double action pull that's in the same poundage as a stock lock trigger. And they're able to make their single actions 1.5 pound, 2 pound triggers. Because at that point, once
Jeez.
you're in single action, it's a hammer
That's
fire
crazy.
gun. Like my tax port, because I have a limited gun because I decided to spend money on 40 cal for some reason. And that gun's like just
Large
over
caliber.
1.25 pounds. And that thing, the trigger pull on it is just ridiculous. And lighter trigger pulls, shorter resets. A Shadow 2's reset is much mechanically shorter than a Glock's reset, so you can theoretically run that gun a lot harder. If you take the average B-class shooter, you're not going to see a massive performance difference. And if you take the average GM, you're probably not going to see a massive performance difference. Brantley Merriam absolutely crushes dudes with a Glock. And he doesn't use a Shadow, doesn't have a desire to use a Shadow, but it provides some advantages to shooters who want to maximize that.
Okay.
You said it was a CZ Shadow 2, right?
Yeah, I'm on Shadow 2s and Tac Sports right now. The Tac Sports like the bigger brother.
Would you ever go back to a SIG?
Probably not at this point. I'm not gaining anything. If I made a switch today, the only gun I've seen that's comparable would be the Walther PDP steel frame. Would be the only gun that might be able to get me away from CZ. It's almost as nice as the Shadow 2s in my mind, but it's a striker gun with a fairly consistent 3.5 pound break. That's pushing what my single action is now, because I don't do a lot of internal work on my Shadows. I replace the recoil spring and call it a day, but some people really tune theirs up.
Yeah. I've been thinking about getting a SIG P365. just because I like the way it feels. Like I said, I love my Glock. I have the utmost faith in it, as of right now. But I've been thinking about that. The way it fits so nicely. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what you think of them, but I've been really considering them.
Considering what?
The Sig P365.
Pig.
Yeah, I mean, shoot the gun that works for you, right?
Mhm.
That, and then whatever gun you decide on, shoot it a lot, because
Mhm.
the skill sets translate. Like I
Mhm.
don't suddenly develop Parkinson's when I pick up a Glock, even though I haven't
Yeah.
shot a Glock in a year, right? Like, I'm still able to do what I need to do with any gun I own because the skills are the same, right?
Mhm.
Put the sights in the
Mhm.
middle of the target, pull the trigger without disturbing the sights. It might feel different on some guns. Some guns might fit my hand better. My support hand definitely feels different on the Glock than it does on my PO7. Um, but like, does that matter to what's mechanically happening with the gun? Not really. Um, and we notice what we pay attention to, right? So I work with a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't shoot a Glock because the grip angle. Who gives a shit about your grip angle? Like, what does the grip angle have anything to do with you putting the sights in the middle of the target, pulling trigger without disturbing the sight picture? Like, now, if we're talking about you're struggling to shoot bill drills in under 2 seconds, sure, maybe there's a factor there. But if we're not shooting alphas consistently at 10 yards, it's not a grip angle problem. Like, there is some other issue here. And that's true with everything. That's true with grip angle. It's true with how it feels in your hand. It's true with what texture's on there. Um, all that kind of stuff that people love to get wrapped up around, or like thumb rest in competition is a huge one. Shooters will be like, "Ah, I've never shot this gun without a thumb rest." Do the same thing, dude. Put the sights in the middle of the target, pull the trigger without moving the sights, and you will score well. Maybe your splits might lose 300ths. There's maybe 10 people in this country who are losing matches because their splits are 300ths slower. And I'm not one of them. And if I'm not one of them, the people talking to me about their thumb rest definitely are not one of them. That was actually a bad example because someone in my life has recently talked to me about thumb rest. That was not targeted. It's just an example.
It sounds like it was targeted.
It does. In hindsight, yeah, it definitely sounds that way. It was not targeted.
Josh is throwing shade right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, the gun's the gun, right? The gun is simply a tool that allows me to put a hole in whatever I'm aiming at, right? The shooter, the actual thing that is taking place to make that happen is me, right? Like, I am the one implementing that process. I am the one that's needs to be visually and mechanically focused on making that happen. The gun is a factor, but it is not the driving force. It's not the influential pinnacle of performance. That's me. That's my job.
What also depends, like what Austin was saying, he wants to shoot with his concealed carry, and like for me, I have done 90% of my dry fire with my concealed carry, my G43. And I don't know if you remember the last time you were on here, I was telling you I hated that thing.
Yep.
Well, I'm shooting better with that than my G17 now because I've done so much dry fire with it.
Yeah.
Dry
If you work on it, it gets better.
Dry fire, man. They're not lying, everybody.
But I bet you if you go put an equal or comparable amount of time with the Glock 17, you're going to see those increases. And there are advantages, right, to specific guns. We've talked about that even on this episode. Like, there is a reason why you don't see anybody winning nationals with a 3-inch Smith & Wesson. Like, that there's a reason for that. There are mechanical advantages to firearms, but if we focus on those mechanical disadvantages, they will be far more impactful to our performance. If we accept them for what they are and we focus on the shooting, we can minimize a lot of that. Not all of it, but we can minimize a lot of it. But if you focus on the small things, if you show up to a stage and you're like, oh man, I don't like the grip angle on my gun, you're probably not worried about the right things in your performance on that stage, and your score is going to reflect that. In the same way where if you show up to, I don't know if anybody played sports, if you show up to baseball practice and you're like, man, my knee really hurts, guess what's bothering you through practice, right? Whether it's a serious injury or just a light, whatever it is, right? Your knee's bothering you if you're thinking about it. And the same's true with shooting. If you're thinking about something that you don't love about what's happening, that's you're gonna be focused on, and your results are gonna reflect that.
Yeah. When I went shooting last time, I was shooting low left, and it was driving me nuts the whole friggin' time. And the more I fixated on it, the worse I got. I literally started having my gun pointed up to the right to try to get it to the center, and I was still shooting low left. It was driving me nuts.
You focus on it, it'll happen.
Yeah.
So how do we fix that, Dimitri? What did you do to fix that? Were you able to fix that?
Switch to my G43.
Oh no! I have failed you. I have failed you.
You know, it's funny you talk about that. So, me, Dimitri, and Josh just went and did a Spartan race, right? And it was a 10K, so about 6.25 miles, right? And about half a mile in, both of my shoes fell apart.
Oh jeez.
Okay, to where the bottom part of the shoe was just like slapping on, like getting caught underneath. They were talking, right? And at first I didn't notice it like too much. Like I could tell something was going on with my shoe, but I didn't notice it too much, right? Then we got to the swimming aspect, and I'm swimming with my shoes, and
You're swimming really fast.
Yeah,
You had two flippers.
and I could sit there. Hey, motorboats, man. But I could feel like the shoe coming apart, and I stopped, and I like put my hand there to see what was going on with my shoe, and I felt it. And then when I got out of the water, I was like stepping over it, and that was when like I really noticed like how bad it was. And for the rest of the race, all I could focus on was my shoes being messed up, and I kept tripping over them. They kept getting in the way. I got to a point to where I almost went barefoot. Like I almost threw my shoes in the woods and just ran the rest of the race barefoot. But then I was thinking how miserable my feet were gonna feel at the end of it, and I stopped. But yeah, it's funny you talk about that because I literally just experienced that, this past weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the mental side of it's huge. Like we've talked about it, I think in our last interview, maybe the first one. But
Yeah.
this shooting is a mental sport, more so than I think anything else is. Like we're controlling miniature explosions in front of our face very, very quickly, and to be able to mentally stay focused while that's happening, and then you apply the performance pressure, you apply the ego, you apply all of these external factors. It can build up pretty quick at a pace that like most people don't recognize. Most people see what we do and they're like, oh my gosh, the targets don't shoot back, they're not moving for the most part, like you just run through the course and shoot the targets. It's like, yeah, on paper, very easy. Come do it with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, it's almost 12. That's a great way to end this with that quote you just said. Are you good?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on here. Is it okay if I do a little shameless plug to wrap us out?
ahead, man.
All
Do
right,
it.
cool. So again, guys, we mentioned it earlier, but I'm an instructor with the Double Tap Shooting Academy. We have a class coming up in Bridgeville, Delaware on October 5th. It's a science of competition class. So if you are classified in any action pistol sport, go to the DoubleTapShootingAcademy.com. You'll be able to sign up for that class. I will be in Houston, Texas at the Big Tex Ordnance Range next weekend. So there's a few spots left in that class. If you go to the citizensdefense.net website, Citizens Defense on Instagram, you'll be able to find that class as well. And if you want to do private training and you're in the Philadelphia area, I go all the way down to like Delaware and Maryland as well. You can hit me up on Shoot More Miss Less on Instagram. We'll be happy to get you set up with a class.
Yeah.
That's my promo, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys on the range in a match here soon.
Heck yeah, man.
Yep. Well, thank you for coming on, and you know it's always a pleasure. All right, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Sorry, I'm not Josh. Give me 1 second.
Other Josh, not this Josh.
Yeah, not this Josh. Is this it?
Because you're definitely not this Josh.
Yeah.
Austin talking like he is.
Right.
I'm not even. I'm less close to being this Josh.
Yep. That's not it. Well, that's our sponsors, everybody. Cock Firearms and Goliath Defense. Use 2AB as your promo code, and you get 10% off.
Yep.
That's our shameless plug. Is this it? Yeah.